Hi Joyful Bakers, welcome back to Erica's Joyful Oven. Today I'm making a rich, decadent chocolate mousse cake, so let's get started. The base of this chocolate cake is a creamy ganache. So into a mixing bowl, I'll add 1¼ cup of room temperature semi-sweet chocolate chips and 1½ teaspoons of ground coffee. Meanwhile, I've brought 1 cup of heavy whipping cream and 6 tablespoons of granulated sugar to a light simmer in a saucepan. And once it's simmering, I'll pour the hot mixture over the chocolate chips. I always get excited when I make chocolate ganache because I love to see the chocolate chips melting and the ganache becoming smooth and creamy. The coffee is optional, but it does intensify the taste of the chocolate in the ganache, and it does add a wonderful coffee flavor. Once the ganache is smooth, I'll set it aside and begin to prepare the chocolate cake batter. Into a mixing bowl, I'll add 3/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon of sifted all-purpose flour, 2 third cups of granulated sugar, 1 third cup of sifted cocoa powder, 3/4 teaspoons of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon each of salt and ground cinnamon. Stir these ingredients together just until incorporated, and next I'll add 2 third cups of room temperature buttermilk, 1 large egg whisked together, 1 third cup of melted unsalted butter, and ½ teaspoon of vanilla extract. Whisk these ingredients together and continue mixing for about 2 minutes. The batter is going to turn a creamy consistency. As amazing as this batter looks and smells, now for the finishing touch, I'll add 1/3 cup of that creamy chocolate ganache that we made earlier, and that is going to give this chocolate cake an amazing out of this world flavor and texture. Mix the ganache into the batter just until it's nice and smooth, and I'll pour this cake batter into a prepared 9-inch baking pan. The baking pan has been lined and lightly greased and floured. Bake this delicious chocolate cake in a preheated oven at 350 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes, or just until a toothpick inserted comes out clean. There's probably an inch or so of cake batter in the baking pan, and that's perfect because a chocolate mousse cake only needs a thin layer of chocolate cake. Once the cake has finished baking, allow it to cool properly, and if necessary, cut any dome off of the top of the chocolate cake, or you can even slice the cake in half to give you an even thinner layer of chocolate cake. Line the bottom and sides of a 9-inch springform pan with wax paper, parchment paper, or plastic wrap. This is just going to help the cake remove easily once it's finished. And I'll place that thin layer of chocolate cake at the bottom of the pan. And now for my favorite part, making that indulgent chocolate mousse that is going to be the center of our cake. Here is that creamy chocolate ganache that we've set aside. To it, I'll add 1¾ cups of cold heavy whipping cream, 3 tablespoons of icing sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a ½ teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'll fold these ingredients together just until it's well combined, and then using a mixer, I'll mix this together on a medium speed until it's nice and light. For this recipe, it is important to use cold, heavy whipping cream. And as you mix this whipping cream, it is going to incorporate a lot of air, and it's going to get really light and fluffy. As you can see, after just about 4 minutes of mixing, the mousse is ready. It is so light and creamy. This mousse is actually great on its own, served with fruits or in dessert cups. But we're going to pour all of this goodness over the chocolate cake. Create an even layer, making sure to press the mousse into the sides of the pan. And this is going to be refrigerated for at least 1 hour before we can add the chocolate glaze at the top. To make that delicious glaze, I'll add 2 third cups of room temperature semi-sweet chocolate chips to a mixing bowl, together with 1 tablespoon of light corn syrup for a nice shiny effect. And next, I've melted 5 tablespoons of butter, and I want this butter to be really hot, so it's going to melt the chocolate chips and create a smooth glaze. It is important to make sure that this glaze is smooth, and that is going to give you the perfect finish. Next, I'll add just 2 tablespoons of icing sugar and stir this together until it's nice and smooth. If you're using unsalted butter, you can add just a pinch of salt, and that's going to balance off the chocolate and butter flavor. Pour this glaze evenly over the chocolate mousse, And using a spoon or spatula, spread the mousse around, making sure that you've covered all of the edges. And this needs to be chilled for at least 4 hours or overnight to allow the mousse and the chocolate glaze to set properly. Once set, I'll easily remove the sides of the springform pan and peel off the wax paper from around the edges. And now you can enjoy this indulgent, delicious, amazing chocolate mousse cake. I cannot wait to slice into this cake. Just the smell of the chocolate has me excited. Note to self, it's better to use a smooth edged knife instead of a bread knife to slice into this cake. It is so smooth and creamy as I slice in, and let me show you the inside of this cake. There's that moist layer of chocolate cake, that indulgent creamy layer of chocolate mousse. The coffee adds the perfect depth of flavor to the chocolate mousse, and not forgetting that buttery, delicious, melt in your mouth chocolate glaze at the top. This is a chocolate lover's dream. I know definitely as a chocolate lover, I highly approve this cake, and I think you guys will too. Be sure to leave a comment and let me know if you've tried this recipe and what you think. For more amazing recipes, you can find me on Facebook and YouTube at Erica's Joyful Oven. And you can check out my website, joyfuloven.com. Happy baking, and I'll see you guys next time with another amazing recipe. Bye guys!